Hello and welcome to the final part of this full card reveal. I mean, 97 cards and we're finally going to get to the end of them. That's such a large amount of cards, but once we include tokens, we do easily eclipse 100 plus, so super crazy that there are that many cards in this set. Honestly, I mean, we've got the 8-drop 5/5 Havencraft Legendary, which is absolutely awesome looking. I mean, you can't go wrong with Havencraft Legendaries most of the time anyway, but this one is Ward, Fanfare, give your leader the following effect. If an allied amulet is in play, your leader can take can't take more than 4 damage at a time. This effect is not stackable, it lasts for the rest of the match. So, awesome, this lasts for the rest of the match, right? That's super important. Give your leader the following effect if an allied amulet is in play. So all you gotta do is have an amulet, play this, rest of the match, you have a Roland basically. Super cool, like that one a lot. Has some great combo potential with some awesome low cost amulets and stuff. Then we have the more interesting card, I think, of the two, just because of the way it is. This is the 5-drop 3/5 Hide. Hide is super cool looking. Then we have Light Hide and Dark Hide as the choose cards, but if at least 2 allied amulets are in play and you have at least 5 play points, choose play this card as either a Saurian Light Hide or Saurian Dark Hide. Whenever this follower attacks, put a random amulet from your deck into your hand, and then same thing for the evolve. Of course, then the light version is a 3/5 rush at the end of your turn, restore 4 defense to this leader, and the dark one is a little more interesting with it being a 3/5 Bane, Fanfare, subtract 2 from the countdown of all amulets, which I think is important. Subtraction from amulets is something we've been kind of lacking lately. I mean, especially with the rotation, it's been taking out a lot of stuff from that format, and with the amount of amulet stuff we're going to see here, it's really nice to see that getting some support. Then we have Tenko's Shire. I do like Tenko's Shire because it does support the whole healing archetype. Whenever you restore add defense to your ally, deal 2 damage to a random enemy follower. If there are no enemy followers in play, 2 defense, 2 damage to the enemy leader instead. I think if you get Elena and this card out and then start using your Tenko shenanigans, the ability to both clear board and go face is going to be absolutely huge for this card, especially in Unlimited, of course. Rotation, I think this has some potential, but not as much as Elena did, unfortunately, but still pretty cool, and I love the artwork. Then we have the 2-drop Jeweled Princess. It's a 1/2 gold. Fanfare, choose, put either a white diamond or black diamond in your hand, with white diamond being a 1-drop amulet, countdown last word, draw 2 cards, and black diamond also being a 1-drop amulet, except it's got last word, deal 2 damage to the enemy leader, restore 2 defense to your leader. So really nice to see that these are some interesting countdown mechanic ones, and nice to see they're cheap amulets, which gives us some nice support. Then we have the 4-drop amulet, opposing statues. So Fanfare, choose, summon either Holy Falcon of Ivory or Hexed Falcon of Ebony. Countdown 2, last word, put an opposing statue into your hand if you have at least 3 cards or less in your hand. So this one's great for late game. It can be nearly infinitely cyclable at the end game, which is really good. Holy Fowl of Ivory is a 4-drop 4/3 at the end of your turn, restore 2 defense to your leader, which is okay. And Hexed Fowl is a 4-drop 2/3 with Storm, so the Storm damage is really important, especially since we are lacking that in Haven at the moment. Then, of course, the Peace Weaver. Of course, I do exclude Heavenly Knight because Heavenly Knight is the only other Storm we have, but that's why we're lacking low-cost Storm. Either way, 3-drop 3/2 Peace Weaver is a Ward. Fanfare, put a Holy Lion Crystal into your hand. Holy Lion Crystal we will look at in a minute. I believe that's part of some of the other cards further along here, but 2-drop Temple of Holy Lion. Fanfare, put a Holy Lion Crystal into your hand. Whenever a Holy Lion Crystal is played, recover 1 play point. The recovering 1 play point is extremely important to try and remember here, because when you're playing stuff like that, it is absolutely bonkers. So when we come back to that Holy Lion Spirit, I'll speak a little bit on those. Then we have the 5-drop 5/4, which is cool looking. Fanfare, deal 2 damage to an enemy if at least 2 amulets are in your hand. Then we have the 2-drop 2/2, gain Bane during your opponent's turn, not as impressive. 2-drop Amulet, countdown 2, Fanfare, draw a card, last word, destroy a random enemy follower. I think this is actually really good considering that the draw a card effect is great on 2, and by the time this triggers, you're on turn 4 with the last word, destroy a random enemy follower, which is about when you'd be playing Tribunal anyway, so this card has a nice balance to it. Then the Holy Lion Crystal is the 2-drop spell. Summon a Holy Shield Lion. If you've played 3 to 5 Holy Lion Crystals this match, summon a Holy Plate Lion instead. If you have played at least 6 other Holy Lion Crystals, summon a Holy King Lion instead. Enhance 5, put a Holy Lion crystal into your hand. So the Enhance 5 makes these infinitely cyclable as well, and the fact that these combo nicely with the other couple of effects you saw means that they have a lot of versatility. This is basically the Jade style of lions for Haven, which is really cool. Then we have Holy King Lion, is the 6-drop 4/4 that is actually summoned from the Holy Lion crystal once you've played 6 other Holy Lion crystals. And I think once you reach that point, these are basically infinite. You can play these as much as you want. And with the super low cost, it's going to work out nicely. So the 4/4 has Storm, which means you can basically have infinite Storm damage, which is always good. Holy Plate Line is a pretty standard vanilla 4-drop 4/4, and the Holy Shield Line is a vanilla 2-drop 2/2. But again, the comboing for getting them off works out really nicely and has a lot of potential. Now onto a little bit of a complicated card, just because this thing has a lot of tokens that we're not going to actually get to until the end of the video there, but, well, the end of the portal section of the video anyway. So mostly keep in mind about this card, I'll go over them briefly as I go through them, but Orcus obviously being absolutely amazing. I do recommend checking this out yourself, it would be much easier to look at. But if you have at least 2 puppets in your hand, important, remember, 2 puppets in your hand and 8 play points, play this card as Orcus, Resolute Puppet, or Orcus, Vengeful Puppet. Fanfare, put 3 puppets into your hand. So Resolute Puppet is whenever an allied puppet comes into play, transform it into Leoid the Android, which is a 1/3 ward that can only be targeted by your opponent's effects and stuff. And if there isn't an allied in play at the end of your turn, restore 3 defense. Yeah, if there isn't, restore 3 defense to your leader if there is one in play. So I don't really like the defensive one much. Honestly, this next one's much more interesting. The Vengeful Puppet one, whenever an allied puppet comes into play, transform it into a Marionette Uno. If there isn't an allied Marionette Uno in play, transform it into... Sorry, if there isn't an allied Marionette Uno in play. Yeah, okay, so that's that first sentence. Okay, we got that down. Then the second sentence is transform into a Marionette Duo instead if they're allied a Marionette Uno in play. So if you have version 1, then you get version 2. If you still have version 1 and 2, you continue to get version 2 of every single puppet. There is no limit here. A lot of people, well, some people I know have looked at it and gone, oh, does that mean I can't play any more duos because I already have 1 duo? Well, no, it just means you can actually go for, if you have more than 2 puppets, play duos all your life. Play as much as you can and just ram them, trade them, go face with them. They have Storm, which is amazing, which you'll see. And then there is a Trace, which is actually a combo between Duo and Uno, which comes after. So we'll take a look at that one after. First, we have the 7-drop 6/4, That Which Erases. Not as good as Vindicator or whatever it was, or Eradicator that it was in Japan, but still a pretty cool card. Whenever a card in your card is put into your deck, banish a random enemy follower or amulet. I would like to just speak that this card is pretty massive in artifacts. You could definitely banish whole boards in single turns with this, which is absolutely crazy, and some of the low-cost addition cards could be absolutely broken. Anyway, 7-drop 4/4 gold, Murderous Puppet. So we're finally getting some good puppet golds and legends, which is nice. We didn't get any of those in CG, and that's kind of unfortunate. Fanfare, summon a Victoria. Evolve, give the allied Victoria the ability to attack 2 times per turn. So Victoria is another card I think we have looked at, and we will take a look at with the tokens, which are coming up soon. So a 3-drop 2/3 here with the Fanfare. Choose, put a Blade of Light or a Blade of Dark into your hand. Blade of Light does present you with give a follower plus -2 plus 2. You gotta remember -2 plus 2 and ward. And Blade of Dark gives a follower +2 +0. Then remove all effects that follow it except that changes its attack or defense. So the exception here should be Aegis. People are like, oh, this should counter Aegis, then remove all effects from the follower except those that changes attack or defense. This card shouldn't be able to affect Aegis in the beginning, honestly, outside of the attack change. So you'd give it 2, that next effect line would try and trigger, wouldn't work. It just won't trigger, flat out. Because Aegis's effect would cancel this first. It's similar, it would basically be a reaction chain link, I would think. Of course, I could be very wrong, but my guess would be that it'd be like a chain link. So basically, this will trigger, it'll try and activate the first and second part of its effect, Aegis's effect will trigger second, which will automatically negate the second part of this card's effect, but allow the first part of this effect to resolve. So the +2 would resolve, but the remove all effects would not. So that's why I think this wouldn't affect Aegis in that case. Then we have the 5-drop 5/3 Rush Fanfare. Put an enemy artifact card that costs at least 3 play points from your deck into your hand. This card is interesting because it has Rush and allows you to pull an artifact, which is always important in artifact decks, and presents a nice thing for Prime Artifact that we'll see later. So this is the 4-drop Crystal Cannon. This is one of the first few interesting amulets that have a higher cost for Portal. I mean, we got a few low ones with Entity and Puppet Room and all that sort of thing, but this is one of the more higher end ones. Whenever an artifact follower that originally cost at least 3 play points comes into play, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower. If there are no random followers, deal 3 damage to enemy leader instead. So the fact that whenever an artifact follower that originally cost at least 3 play points comes into play, that could be absolutely massive with the wards. This sets up a really, really solid defensive puppet deck, and I think not puppet deck, sorry, artifact deck. Really defensive artifact deck where I could literally just spam wards the whole game and win, which could be really interesting. Then we have the Synthetic Being, a 2-drop 2/1. Not much to say on the main part of its effect here. If you have at least 2 play points and Resonance, it's active for you. Put either Marina or Diablo Marina. They're real pain to pronounce. Anyway, Elange. So the Elange is Fanfare, put a Radiant Artifact and Prime Artifact into your deck. I actually don't mind this. This card actually isn't bad. I think it's a little awkward because of the conditionings. Fanfare, put a random artifact from your deck into your hand. So it gives you both effects, which is nice. You can either pull a one or put them in, which I do like, but I think there is a better card you're about to see that actually has a nicer effect than this one. So then we have Cruel Puppet Master. So a 4-drop 3/3 Clash, put a puppet into your hand. Nothing too special about that guy. 3-drop Junk 1/2 Fanfare, and last word, put a puppet into your hand. Great puppet generation, good stats. Actually really like this card. Then we have the 2-drop 2/2 Know of History. This one is the one that's actually better than that silver, I think, personally. Fanfare, put a prime artifact into your deck. Evolve, put a random artifact card from your deck into your hand. This is basically Icarus, but slightly better. And I feel like this is what you would replace Swordsman with, just because prime artifact is actually quite a good card, especially if you can put just 1 or 2 into the deck and then use your artifact draw cards to draw them out. It can be absolutely massive in the late game, so that could be super interesting. So then we have Rocket Knuckles, the 2-drop spell, which is deal 3 damage to an enemy follower. If there's an artifact card in your hand, randomly discard 1 and deal 6 damage instead. Really love this card. Versatile, pretty standard 3 damage, 2-drop kind of thing. Probably not as good as Dimensional Cut, honestly, though, just because Dimensional Cut is a slightly better way to go about it with Resonance than to waste a random discard. Okay, so here are the tokens. So this is for Orcus. This is the 3-drop 1/4 ward. This follower can be targeted. Your enemy can only target this follower. If this follower can be targeted, your enemy can only target this follower, which is good, but not crazy. I think it's okay. Then we have, here we go, the first one, Marionette Uno, 1-drop 1/1 Ambush. Important fact, it's ambush, makes it hard to remove. Secondly, Duo, 4-drop 3/2. Obviously these are played automatically and automatically changed from puppets when they're summoned, so the puppet costs 0, this is automatically summoned. Storm, at the start of your turn, this follower combines and becomes, with an allied Uno and becomes Trey. So that's super good. I mean, this has automatic 3 damage Storm. That alone is absolutely massive. Then obviously the Trey, if you manage to get 2 of them to stick to the board, which with what I've thought about of these cards, honestly that wouldn't be that hard. This is a 6-drop 3/3, which is okay, but it also has Storm, can attack 2 times per turn, and last word, summon a Marionette Uno and Duo, which is absolutely crazy. That's what I think this one is needed for. If you can get this out, it's a monster. If your opponent doesn't kill this and Orcus in the same turn, meaning they need mass removal, it's going to be hard. And with Bahamut rotating, there's no threat like that at the moment that can really deal with this super easily. Then we have the Victoria, which comes off the gold. It's obviously a 3-drop 3/1 with Rush. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, deal X damage to the enemy follower before it can deal damage in return. X equals the follower's attack. So being able to kill a follower with this card, it should be fairly easy. Dealing 3 damage is a pretty good stat line and not hard to do, honestly, with 5 damage with the Evolve being easy as well. And of course, Prime Artifact, the final card for all of Portal. Prime Artifact is basically Mordecai at the start of your turn. Why I think this card is quite good. It's a 7-drop 5/5, which is a pain in the ass to play. That's true. But if you can get this out after, say, a Des, you automatically get this for basically 6 with 1 extra left over. If you already happen to manage to be able to get out Acceleradium, this could be quite good as well. If you're running this as a one-of in a puppet deck I've been considering, could have good potential to get you past that turn 5 to turn 7 bridge that you need to get through before you can start dropping Orcus and fill the board really well. So that's another good use for this card. At the start of the turn also means your opponent can't instantly counter it if you've traded it off. So if you use this, trade it into something, then it dies, it'll come back the next turn, which means your opponent then has to deal with it the following turn after you've already swarmed the board again. So I always sort of like that factor, especially if we use this on 7 with an Evolve. You play Orcus on 8, drop it, drop its followers, you now have a really hard board to deal with. So next up are the neutral cards. This will be the last lot of cards for the entire set, and it's going to be absolutely crazy, guys. So 7-drop 7/7 Marduk. I mean, fanfare, give you the leader in the following effects. Followers cannot be played. Followers can't be played. Whenever you play a spell, draw a card. Whenever you play an amulet, deal 2 damage to an enemy leader. These effects last until this follower leaves the area. So whenever you play an amulet, deal damage. Whenever you play a spell, draw a card. What I think this is good in is Haven. Haven with its new lion effects, focus it to be mostly spell-based. Build up your deck, flush it out, get this thing going off. Also could have some good potential in Rune, where you're not playing very many followers and you're mainly focusing on spells. Could be really good potential. Otherwise, I don't see many decks that could really take advantage of this card outside of those two. Then Moon and Sun, probably the better of the neutral cards, honestly. The 3-drop Moon and Sun is a spell. One of the first legendary spells ever outside of things like token cards. So anything from Prince of Darkness or anything from Grail, for example, are all token cards and can't actually be placed in a deck, whereas this one can. I don't believe there are any other legendary cards that I've ever seen that were a spell. This should be the first one that can actually be placed into your deck when deck building. So choose, summon either Amaterasu or Tsukiyomi. Enhance 7, give the follower +3/+3. I'm not a fan of the Enhance 7 as much unless you actually really needed it, but it's okay. Amaterasu is a 3-drop 2/2 Clash, restore 1 defense to your leader. Last word, put a Sun and Moon into your hand. And the Tsukiyomi is a Clash, deal 1 damage to the enemy leader. Last word, put a Sun and Moon into your hand. So this is like Carrot, but basically crazy. I mean, you either get one that restores defense on Clash, or you get one that deals damage on Clash. Both of which come from Sun and Moon, and recycle themselves to give you more Sun and Moon. So if you can somehow proc your own Tsukiyomi and have it resummon itself, you can potentially have full hand of Sun and Moon cards, which are absolutely awesome. Then we have the 6-drop gold Stunga 3/2 Fanfare, banish an enemy amulet. Gain +3/+3 instead if there's no enemy amulet in place. This one's a really versatile 6-drop where you can potentially be able to get a really good drop out of it, and being able to banish an amulet on its own is still pretty reasonable. Then we have the 2-drop gold Vanguard 2/2, evolve, banish an enemy follower with 1 defense. Don't like this one much. What seems like a waste of an evolve personally. 5-drop Divine Retribution, randomly destroy one of the strongest enemy cards in play, enhance 8, then deal 3 damage to the enemy leader. Don't mind this as much. Destroying one of the strongest enemy followers in play is good, and enhance 8, then deal 3 damage is pretty solid too, especially for a neutral. So this, well actually, considering this is basically taking the place of Dance of Death, that actually works out pretty well, considering it's a more balanced version basically. So a 2-drop 2/2 silver Valkyrie of the Order, enhance 5 +2/+2, enhance 8 +3/+3 more. So the important part here is that fanfares, the way they trigger now, you're always going to get the previous fanfare with the new fanfare. So when you play 8, you're still getting the 5, so you're actually getting +5/+5 on 8, which is really cool. So you're actually getting a super awesome card for that. Obviously, it's not going to be great because you're still losing, you're still getting an 8/7/7, which isn't perfect, but I think because it's so versatile, it can be played on 2, 5, and 8, at least it has some potential. Then we have the 3-drop Valkyrie Chaos. It's a 3/2 fanfare, randomly gain ward or rush. So it can either defend you or attack for you. It's random, so 50-50, but it's actually pretty okay. Considering it's a bronze, that is, of course. Then we have Glorious Tart Man. You always get one of these cards per set. That's super interesting. We've had Happy Pig. We've had... I forgot what the one before that was. We had Happy Pig. We've had Ultimate Carrot, which was an interesting one from a while back. And we've had Owlcat, which are all, I think, in the same category of cards. Really interesting ones. Either way, Tartman is a 2/2 evolve, return a random enemy follower to the opponent's hand. Returning a random enemy follower is super interesting idea, but I think the evolve might be too much for this one. Then of course we have Fountain of Angels, a 1-drop amulet, costing pretty well. I mean, Countdown 2 is reasonable. Fanfare, give +1 to an allied follower until the end of turn. Last word, draw a card. So this could work well as a nice buff card, although since it is at the end of turn, it makes it a little more difficult, which is what I don't like. I wish it was like at the start of turn, although at the end of turn, until the end of turn's okay. So giving it +1's okay. I was misreading my initial look, but that's fine. Actually, this card's not too bad at all. Could work well in any kind of buff deck, and fortunately we're right back at the start, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this. If you do want to check out the cards that are in this set, again, just go to the Shadowverse website. I will leave it in the description below where you guys can check it out, and you can find anything that you might be looking for from this set there. 97 cards, 17 more to come, plus the 2 leader cards to look forward to, so technically 99 cards in the entire set. Well, 99 cards in the initial part of the set, and 116 once you include the leader cards in the full set, which will be released in May, and we'll have details on that as it gets closer. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Please check out all the others. If this is the first one you're watching, I do recommend you check out the first video first, see them all in order, so that all of them kind of flow together, although it's not going to hurt to watch them individually because I do cover entire classes all in one video. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.